Welcome to A Cuppa with Canopy, episode 2. I'm Jamie, head of business development here at Canopy, and today we're brewing up some invaluable insights on the ever-evolving world of cloud. I'm thrilled to be joined by a very special guest, Sara Mitchell. Sara, welcome. How are you?
I'm very good. I've got my climbing Snowdon cup here. Still pleased I did that. So yeah,
Fantastic. You got at the top of Snowdon.
went all the way to the top, had a cup of tea, and then came all the way back down. So yeah,
There you
still
go. That's
good.
very impressive. Maybe we should do a Cuppa with Canopy at the top of Snowdon.
Yeah,
I
we
think that's
should
the
do that.
next place.
Yeah, we should do that for sure.
Glad to hear it, Sarah. So before we start, everyone wants to know what is your favorite cuppa?
Oh, well, I have a brand name Clipper Organic Tea is my favorite
Oh
cup.
wow. Well, we
Proper,
haven't we haven't had we haven't had that one yet, so that's
yeah.
great.
I like a Clipper tea. Um, I also quite like a coffee, to be fair, but
Fa-
that's probably not
Fantastic.
allowed. Otherwise,
Johan said the same. Johan said the same.
I need the
Okay,
caffeine. Yeah.
okay, so Sarah, you've had an incredibly impressive career. You spent 12 years at IBM, 6 years at AWS, and 3 years as Director of Solution Architecture at Stripe. And of course, now more importantly, you are our CTO at Canopy.
Thank
So
you. Yeah, it feels like sounds like an ever such a long time, and I don't know that it's sort of gone very quickly, but yeah, here we are. Here we are.
head of financial services solutions architecture. That's quite the impressive mouthful. Did you always introduce yourself at events as that as well, or did you shorten
Oh,
it?
yeah, it's like these naming conventions for these big companies. There's like you have to be very specific, don't you,
Yeah, yeah,
about what you're looking after and avoiding overlap with someone else's job. But yeah, I think I think
yeah. That's what happens if you shorten it. You're head of you're head of financial services if you shorten it.
well exactly. Yeah, exactly, which is like somebody else. Yeah, that was the sales job. So but yeah, it was an interesting time actually. We were sort of establishing cloud in financial services markets, which was actually quite disruptive at the time.
Mm,
So yeah, it was an very interesting time. Yeah.
wow. Well, I suppose my first question for you is tell us a little bit about your story and how you came to join CTO as at Canopy.
Yeah, so I guess like if we go back to the beginning, my time at IBM, I spent all of that time building product and designing product, and a lot of time designing APIs, which you can get quite focused on, surprisingly.
Mm,
And I'd moved into go-to-market roles, sort of with a desire to understand why people buy any software. You know, you're building all this stuff for years, and you kind of like,
mm,
why does anyone buy it, and what's that process? So
mm,
um, it was exciting to me to come back to actually building product again,
mm,
rather than sort of helping other people build products. And I was
mm,
particularly inspired by just the problem space we're looking at. It's back to cloud, which I know very well, but also just being involved really early and having the opportunity to kind of start to not only build product but build culture and build a company and
mm. It's
you
quite
know
raw, isn't it? It's quite
yeah
a
yeah
sort of
yeah
fresh and very what you put in, what you get out, and
yeah yeah really
mm,
nice and a nice small team, high trust environment where everyone's kind of really it's very easy to know where everyone's
mm,
pulling towards. We're all got a
mm,
very clear mission. So yeah, it's been really good fun getting involved.
mm. Fantastic. And so James approached you and asked you to come on board and said this is an exciting thing. And did you overlap much when you were at AWS?
There was a little bit of overlap, but we never crossed paths.
Hmm.
But the reason my name came sort of across James' desk was because of Adrian Hornsby, who's also working with Canopy. So both Adrian and James Saul, who are kind of
Hmm.
we all worked together at
Hmm.
AWS. So that network effect
Fantastic.
is good,
Fantastic.
right? You
Well,
work
thank.
your network, it always
Well
plays
done. Well
quite a
done,
big.
Adrian. Well done, Adrian.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. So
Okay, so let's jump in. So,
mm.
given your very impressive background, what are the interesting tech transformations you have seen over your time at IBM, Stripe, and AWS?
Well, I was we were chatting about these questions, weren't we? I've been pondering this because I feel like it all ends up normalizing down into the same process. Um, so during my time at IBM, we were very much focused on that sort of client server computing, and the 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 cloud hadn't really. It was right at the end of my time when cloud started to become prevalent. AWS
Mm,
was kind of really pushing forward on that, and so that was a time of just like standards, and we were all building products to these kind of global standards. So there would be an API that you had to implement, and products were intended to be very portable. And then cloud has come, and it's less portable, but then you have different frameworks that enable that portability, whether it's scripting or Terraform or containers and things like that. So
mm,
there's always like that desire for people to have some portability. So I think those
mm,
things are very similar. Cloud, when it first came out, was like, oh, this is just for dev test. No one's going to use this in anger. And now it's the de facto, and we're almost like, oh, do we need to
mm,
pull stuff back on prem? So
mm.
things go in round and round in circles, but it's
Yeah.
you have to have a reason not to use the cloud, I think, at the moment. So that's interesting when we now look at this AI revolution that's coming,
Mm,
and people are nervous about it because it's still very new. But I think that that nervousness will diminish with maturity of the tech, and familiarity with what it's capable of. And so I think we're just going through another evolution of
mm.
dipping our
Yeah,
toe into like embracing.
that's true. That's true. I think there's a nervous. That's interesting. That there's nervousness in the sort of technical side of things as well, because we're definitely seeing that with sovereignty and
Yeah,
these laws in place in the US that at a certain point the government can go in and just look at your data if it's based in the US, and I think people are worried around that as well. So I
yeah,
think that's a it's good position. It's a good position for Canopy, a partner, to come in and help with any sort of nervousness that businesses
yeah.
are feeling with this sort
Well,
of thing,
and,
isn't it?
and politics playing into technical decisions is
Mm,
interesting. Like so, in financial services, we had a lot of regulation,
mm,
and so UK regulators were very focused on increasing competitiveness in the financial services market. So, and you see the rise of Monzo and Starling as a result of that regulatory environment.
mm,
And so now politics is having a play and driving technical changes and innovation as everyone tries to have sort of improved data sovereignty, basically, so in these uncertain times, I guess. But I'm not a
yeah, exactly.
politician, and so you just like, okay, here's what we've got, here's what's coming. How do we solve it
Mm,
technically? And
mm.
yeah, it's interesting, interesting
It
time.
is. It is. Well, this leads nicely on to the next question, which is in terms of transformation, what do you believe to be the next thing?
Well, I mean, it's got to be this AI, these AI changes, right? And how I don't think we're, I don't think we've even started to appreciate the things that are going to change.
Mm,
And certainly in my role, you're sort of like looking at stuff, but then what impact will that have on people's behaviour, on processes? And it will be incremental, and it will, it's not just going to be a 180 degree. But I think, in 10 years' time, things will be very different to how they are today.
Mm.
A friend was chatting the other week, and we are talking about, how 100 years ago, I've been watching some of the Yellowstone series on the telly, and like cars had a handle to start them, and you'd bash it, if something wasn't working, and now you just
Yeah.
expect to just get in and drive, and you maybe have to put, water in your windscreen wipers, but I
Mm.
don't want to really do anything else with my car. Um,
No.
and so technology,
You just trust everything when you press
yeah,
that button,
you
don't
just
you?
trust
Yeah.
it. You
Mm.
never, yeah, you never think about it. And I think we'll get to that level of trust with AI as it matures.
Mm.
And processes will change. And
Hmm.
yeah, it's interesting. It's good fun.
Yeah, yeah, it is. I think it's a hard one to navigate to try and predict,
Yeah,
where we'll be, and I think that's heavily your role, isn't it, to work out where we'll be
yeah,
and try and, pivot or put us in the right direction for any
right.
changes that come with
And
that.
so building skills so that you're familiar with the tools, and that enables you to sort of start to see around corners a little bit. But a
Hmm.
lot of it is making an educated guess on the future, right? So,
Hmm.
doing some research and then trying to be creative about the art of the possible,
Mm.
today, and where that's going to go. But unless you're kind of involved and understanding what's going on, you can't
Hmm.
you can't just observe it.
No.
Can't reach a
And
decision.
access to AI is an interesting one. Is it democratized enough? I think is another.
I've been thinking about this. Just like, you see a lot of people concerned about the costs of it, and
Hmm.
when cloud first came out, the cost was like the driver. It was cheap, it was easy to get to,
Yeah.
and you were helping small businesses do things that they couldn't do
Hmm.
with a small team. And a Stripe was the same, right? We started as a way for small businesses to have a really clean, slick way of taking money online.
Hmm.
And I do worry that that the sort of AI tooling is expensive, and
Mm.
are we just limiting access to organisations who can afford to
Hmm.
invest in it? I don't know. I haven't kind of properly thought that through, but it would be a
Mm.
shame if it kind of just went into the big spends,
Yeah.
and didn't change
Hmm.
things for everybody. I think that
Mm.
is that sort of
Well,
that missed opportunity.
how do you see the role of CTO changing? What are the most difficult challenges you think a CTO and others might be facing, etc.? I mean, we're seeing a big shift of power to the CTO in the sense that tech is not just a part of the business anymore. It is the business.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, yeah. I mean, that's been evolving. That's been evolving for a while now, hasn't it? And
mhm.
I guess the the ability for your technology to drive revenue streams for your business and
Mhm.
open up new revenue streams is increasingly important. And I think
Mhm.
for you know me and anyone else kind of leading a technology function, keeping up with that rate of change
Mm.
is, I think, the hardest thing. Like,
Yeah.
what is the market doing? It's almost daily there's something different and new, and
Mhm.
filtering through, is that relevant to me,
Mhm.
or is that just not relevant right now, but I need to kind of keep it in mind,
Yeah. Yeah.
or do I run at this? And
At the bottom of the to-do list rather than at the top.
yeah, exactly. And
Important.
then
It's.
yeah, do I take a bet on this?
Mm.
Do I take a sort of cautious explore into this and put some
Mm.
focus here, and just see what's further around the corner? And that's always been the case, but I think it's changing very rapidly at the minute, which
Mm.
is a new aspect.
Yeah, I think that it was interesting when we had a meeting the other day, and you were saying about whether what level should the CTO be getting involved in the build, in the
yeah,
sense of, do I get too stuck in with the build, or should I be concentrating on the bigger picture and thinking about what might happen, or the direction of the ship, as opposed to
yes,
the ongoings within the ship.
yeah.
And I thought that was quite an interesting thought for a CTO to be taking on board.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're a small company, right? We're
Mm,
a small team. And so,
hmm
it'd be easy just to get hands on and, but then, who's going to be thinking about the next
mm,
step? Who's going to be thinking about how the market's pivoting?
mm,
And, we need to keep an eye on that as well. So, like all these things, you're spinning a lot of plates, aren't you?
mm,
And balance is always probably the most pragmatic approach. But yeah, it's fun times, right? And I think you bring also after a career of different jobs, you bring a variety of skills and experiences,
mm.
but you never bring everything. So you need the team as well. So
Yeah, yeah,
like yeah,
yeah.
it takes a team. I don't think anyone does their best work all alone. So
True, true. That's a good point. That's a good point. Well, this leads on to some other more technical questions, which is, what problems do businesses face when making these technical decisions, when it comes to multi-cloud, on-prem, and hybrid?
yeah, so there's always a trade-off with anything, isn't there? There's a
Hmm
trade-off, you know, the skills you've got. Like, what are you good at today, and where are
hmm
your skill gaps? What's it going to cost you to acquire those skills that you need? And and then time to market. Like, there's first mover advantage. How quickly do you need to be pulling in some revenue for this product you're building?
hmm
So all of those factors, there's often not a clear answer, right? It's a
hmm
very balanced answer. I think I think anyone looking at a multi-cloud environment, you need to understand that you're going to have to build skills in multiple stacks. And
Mm,
whilst there'll be similarities across both stacks, there are also differences, and there's complexity in managing two stacks. So it's not just a delta on what you've got, but it's a whole new stack. So taking that into account against what would the alternatives be is
hmm
a really important decision.
hmm
So those kind of practical decisions have to be made.
hmm
And then I think considering that criticality of that individual workload, like we always talk about, nobody wants to be locked in and
mm,
guarding against like a single point of failure. But then you also need to think about what is the cost to your business if you have a catastrophic failure.
mm.
And those are normally multiple failures. They're rarely just one thing's broken. You've usually tested
Yeah.
for those, but they're fairly significant. And Monzo just recently brought out their stand-in bank. So they're again, my background, I know a bit, know these financial services users fairly well.
Yeah.
So the regulators are concerned about cloud concentration risk
hmm
in financial services. So Monzo have built out this whole second stack on a second cloud provider. So they have
mm,
core and a secondary, and they
hmm
run traffic through both.
hmm
And it's ready as a completely different code base
Wow.
if they need to flip traffic.
Yeah.
And you see these big outages, and I think obviously there's been quite a lot of work gone into that Monzo stack, but we do see these
Mm,
big outages occur, and they hit the papers, and it's
yeah.
catastrophic for those businesses.
Mm,
And I think we've all got to get better at building for failure, I guess. expect the
Yeah,
same and
yeah,
build for that. But it does come at a cost.
yeah,
It's
true.
going to be easy for Monzo to build. So,
No, the ability to stay nimble at our size is much easier than the
oh
size of
yeah,
Monzo, isn't it? I
yeah,
feel like
yeah,
anyone who's making decisions that can't make decisions now, that's thinking, I can't move anything because I'm locked into this 3-year deal, and
yeah,
therefore we've got to stick with that.
yeah.
You know,
You've got to have those options
we'll
available.
cease to exist in a few years, if something goes wrong. So
Yeah,
it's a staying nimble. I think that's interesting hearing how enterprise businesses are staying nimble with cloud.
yeah, yeah.
Mm.
And Monzo isn't at scale compared to like some of the global banks, right? So um, there's step ups at
Yeah, yeah.
each level. Yeah. So yeah, you can think of some of those big brand names that are global entities, and so the complexity for them to remain nimble
Hmm.
is much harder. Yeah.
Yeah. So data sovereignty. This is a play we're seeing quite a lot.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Mm.
we mentioned it earlier. It's sort of obviously the political situation has suddenly changed, and
Hmm.
we relied on the Cloud Act for years, and
Yeah.
that's perfectly adequate for regulated and unregulated companies. You know, there was protection there and a sort of equivalence, legal standing. So
Hmm.
everyone was comfortable with that.
Hmm.
But the world has changed, and that level of trust has diminished. Whether it's justified or not, who can say it? I'm not going to.
Hmm.
That's not much for me to say. But risk profiles change, so people need to protect their interests and feel
Hmm.
that they've got that level of protection they need. So, yeah,
Hmm.
having data sovereignty either within the UK or within the EU or wherever, the jurisdiction you're operating in
Hmm.
has suddenly become an important requirement, and we're seeing the big cloud providers trying to address that. But I think for us, like we're working with a lot of much smaller cloud partners who've got very it's very easy that you're dealing with a UK entity.
Hmm.
So that I think will become something that for some organisations that is very important. So having some options there, I think
How can leaders better arm their employees to benefit from the AI revolution?
yeah, I think well, it
Is
makes
it
me quite.
skill set? Is it tools? Is
I
it?
think there's all these
Mm.
things, right? And I think a lot of companies are anxious about it. They're worried about losing their IP. Um, I, for me, I like to be familiar with things. I always
Mhm.
like a new thing. I like a new shiny
Mhm.
thing. So understanding understanding the capability
Mhm.
gives you then the skills,
Mhm.
right? To
Mhm.
say, oh, we could do something different here. We could innovate a little bit
Mhm.
here. I
Mhm.
don't think you can, if you observe from the sidelines, that's all you're ever going to do.
Mhm.
But being able to put guardrails around, how your employees engage when it's work related
Yeah.
environments is
Yeah.
really key. So it may be that you don't want people using public LLMs, but you want to host your own. Now that comes with a cost, right? So
Mhm.
putting some guardrails around what people are allowed to do um, is is obviously fundamentally important.
Mhm.
But I think it's a
It's
shame.
crazy. Yeah. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
crazy to see how many people are using,
Yeah.
relying solely on AI for their roles. That
Yes.
you
And
think, well, you're positioning yourself very well for AI getting better. I don't know. I think that's an interesting
yeah.
topic as well there.
And it is going to get better, and we are, people go, oh, do we trust it? Well, maybe
Hmm.
we validate it at the moment,
Hmm.
but that hallucination level will diminish.
Yeah.
For many things, it's so useful for many things, and so yeah, the power. You're seeing it. People moving away from a Google search into an LLM enabled search.
Hmm.
And as a human, just getting into the habit of doing that, you sort of
Hmm.
like, oh, this has saved me so much time.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, and
Yeah.
I can verify the things that are key and that I want to just double check rather than just believe it.
Yeah.
But it does a lot of of grunt work for you that
For sure.
just saves time. It
Yeah.
enables you to go fast.
The stuff you don't want to do, the boring
Yeah,
admin bits, is
yeah,
amazing to use for. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I was doing some pricing calculations earlier today, and
Hmm.
I was like trogging through the websites, kind of like, oh, how much is that? And how much is that? And I thought,
Yeah.
what am I doing? And yeah, and then you just give, and the skill there is actually the prompt engineering, like crafting the right instructions
Mm.
gets
Yeah.
you better outcomes. And so
Yeah.
just getting good at that, I think,
That's a great bit of advice, actually.
is a
Yeah.
good skill, right?
Learning how to use it properly,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah, definitely.
And we all did that with Google when it first came out. You got better at how you asked it things, and so we just need to do that. I think now that's probably a good first step for most of
Yeah,
us.
I think that's
And
good advice. I think that's good advice.
yeah,
And we slightly touched on this earlier. Why have you decided to join the team at Canopy, and what excites you the most about Canopy and what we're doing? And for those who don't know, who are new to us
yeah,
and seeing this podcast for the first time, share a little bit about what we're building and
yeah,
how exciting it is.
yeah. So so we're trying to solve the the procurement problem, right? So and we've working in go-to-market teams. It's complex for people to buy cloud
Mhm.
solutions. There are a lot of steps. There's a lot of unknown. There's a lot of opaque information that
Mhm.
customers have to navigate, understand who they trust, and do they ever feel like they've got a good deal? Or I don't know. I mean, to me, it always feels a little bit like buying a car, which you also never feel like you got a good deal. Um,
Mm.
and so and so we're trying to apply technology to that to build a very transparent platform for people to procure cloud software and understand what it will cost them, but also what other options they have open to them, and
Mm.
bring a sort of whole of market range to customers so that they can understand some of those trade-offs between cost and skills and a sort of ongoing maintenance so that whole ROI thing becomes clearer, but also
Mhm.
in a self-service way. You don't need a big team to kind of do a big
Mhm.
exercise of research and
Yeah.
testing. So we're going to automate some of that for people. So
Fantastic,
yeah,
fantastic.
so
And
I
why
think
why do you think it hasn't been done before? Why are we
it's,
why are we the first to climb this mountain?
I think
That's a worrying thing to say, isn't it? Why hasn't this
yeah,
been done before?
I think there's two things. I think it's non-trivial piece of
Mhm.
work to do, trying to match requirements to a range of non-standardized providers. I talked
Mhm.
at the beginning about how when I was at IBM, we were building web servers, and there were a whole range of API standards that we had
Mhm.
to comply with, and that was how everybody complied with the
Mhm.
same standards. Whereas cloud providers, there's not a standard for cloud providers, so they all
Mhm.
implement their own APIs,
Mhm.
um, and and so compare you're not comparing apples with apples, so you have to have a way of doing that,
Mhm.
and pricing agreements, those are all kind of fairly opaque. So I
Mhm.
think the variety of providers, the scale of that, adds complexity, and I think also that the AI technology that's now here
Mhm.
enables us to do things that would have been very arduous to code
Hmm.
without those tools. So
Yeah.
variety of factors, I think, is kind of what's making it possible
Hmm.
today, but also yeah,
And this
there's
is
stuff
yeah,
to. Sorry.
fantastic. Fantastic. And then this leads on to when can we expect the first iteration of the procurement platform to be released to the world?
Right, so we're gonna launch. It's like an early Christmas present for the world. Um,
Okay.
yeah, we'll be launching before the end of the year um, with our GA platform. We're going to have
Hmm.
a sort of beta program early, so
Yep.
at some point we will be asking for some early customers to come and help us just refine that GA launch and
Hmm.
get hands on early
Hmm.
and get to work with us and the team to kind of become our early users, which will be fun. But yeah,
Hmm.
early Christmas present.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I won't want anything for Christmas now.
No, you'll just
We're
have
set.
a Canopy platform
Yeah,
for
I'm set.
yeah,
I'm set.
yeah, and we'll all be
Fantastic.
celebrating in the Maldives or somewhere. Just
Oh, amazing. Whose idea was that? That's a fantastic idea.
sunshine for Christmas is what you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Brilliant. Brilliant.
yeah.
Well, Sarah, that's been an incredibly insightful discussion on empowering teams for AI and the delicate balance between innovation and security. So thank you very much for your insights, Sarah.
You're welcome.
And
It's been fun.
and bef
It's been fun.
yeah,
I
it's
have
been
to finish
great.
my tea. It's gone cold now, but yeah.
Oh my goodness, no. That's what happens. That's what happens. I've still got mine here, so I'm all right. But before we wrap up today's episode, we're excited to announce we've got our own CRO, Adrian Hornsby, joining for the next Cuppa with Canopy.
Good.
So, Sarah, what's one question you'd love to ask Adrian about the future of cloud?
Well, so Adrian is Mr. Resiliency, right? So I think he needs to help us understand how to build resilient AI stacks. What are the things to worry about, and how can you kind of mitigate those worries in what you build? So yeah, that's the topic I'd like to hear about from him.
Fantastic, fantastic. There you go, Adrian.
Hope he's
And
listening. Yeah.
yeah, I'm sure it will be. And with that, we're all out of time for a Cuppa with Canopy. So huge thank you, Sarah, our CTO,
Thank you,
and
Jamie, for
it's been
having
a
me.
real pleasure.
Yeah, been
It's been a
good.
real
Good fun
pleasure.
talking to you.
Fantastic.
Thanks
Thank you
everyone
very
for
much.
listening as well, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.